Clarice Starling, a promising FBI Academy student, is called away from retraining at the FBI training facility in Quantico, Virginia, by Jack Crawford of the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit, who assigns her the task of presenting a VCAP questionnaire to the notorious Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a brilliant forensic psychiatrist and incarcerated cannibalistic serial murderer. Starling travels to the Baltimore State Hospital for the criminally insane and is led by Dr. Frederick Chilton to Hannibal Lecter, a sophisticated, cultured man restrained behind thick glass panels and windowless stone walls, after learning the assignment relates to the pursuit of vicious serial killer Buffalo Bill. Although nice and courteous at first, Lecter becomes frustrated with Starling's attempts to dissect him and angrily rebuffs her. As Starling walks away, another patient throws fresh sperm in her face, which enrages Lecter, who calls Starling back and provides a riddle containing information about a prior patient. The solution to the puzzle leads to a storage lot where the severed head of Benjamin Raspail is discovered. Starling returns to Lecter, who connects Raspail to Buffalo Bill and agrees to help profile him if he is moved to a facility away from the venomous, careerist Dr. Chilton. Buffalo Bill kidnaps Catherine Martin, the daughter of United States Senator Ruth Martin, from a distance of hours and miles. Starling is dragged from Quantico and accompanied Crawford to West Virginia, where the body of Bill's most recent victim is discovered. Crawford asks Starling on the aircraft ride to town what she sees in the Buffalo Bill file. She describes Bill as a white male who has developed a taste for it and is getting better at his job. Starling assists with the autopsy and takes the chrysalis of a death's head hawkmoth from the victim's throat at the coroner's office. When the victim is turned over for a closer look, they discover two enormous, diamond-shaped slices of skin flayed off her torso. Starling records this detail after speaking with Lecter about how Bill flays his victims. As news of Catherine Martin's kidnapping spreads across the country, Crawford permits Starling to pitch Hannibal Lecter a phony contract offering a prison transfer in exchange for information that will aid characterize Buffalo Bill and rescue Catherine Martin. Instead, Lecter engages in a quid pro quo game with Starling, exchanging complete information and insights about Buffalo Bill for events from Starling's horrific childhood. Dr. Frederick Chilton, unbeknownst to both Starling and Lecter, records the conversation and, after exposing Starling's agreement as a fraud, offers to transfer Lecter in exchange for a deal of his own devising, one that will make Chilton out as a hero for identifying and hunting down Buffalo Bill. Following a flight to Tennessee, Lecter reveals to Senator Martin and her entourage of FBI agents and Justice Department officials Buffalo Bill's real name, physical description, and previous residence. He also publicly attacks Martin by questioning her about breastfeeding her daughter. When Lecter reveals Buffalo Bill's name, Martin orders him to return to Baltimore. As the manhunt begins, Starling visits Lecter's private cell in a tiny Tennessee courthouse and confronts him about the false information he provided to the senator. Lecter ignores Starling's protestations and insists on finishing her narration about her worst childhood memory. After recounting her arrival at a relative's farm, the horror of discovering their lamb slaughterhouse, and her futile attempts to save the lambs they screamed as they were slaughtered, a memory that has haunted Starling her entire life, Lecter rebuffs her, leaving her with her case file before being escorted out of the building by security guards. He strokes one of her fingers as she reaches for the file. Later that evening, Lecter escapes from his cell, his two Minders preoccupied by the necessity of moving his sketches and duping them into approaching him too closely. The local cops assault the floor, discovering one guard barely alive and the other disemboweled and hanged up like an angel on the bars of Lecter's cage. While a SWAT team searches the building for Lecter, paramedics carry the survivor to an ambulance and hurry away. The survivor in the ambulance pulls off his own face as the crew discovers a body on top of the elevator car, revealing Lecter in disguise, who kills the paramedics and flees to the airport. Starling examines her case file after learning of Lecter's escape, scrutinizing Lecter's notes, before realizing that the first victim, Frederica Bimmel, knew Bill in real life before he murdered her. Starling visits Bimmel's birthplace and discovers that Bimmel was a tailor and had outfits with templates comparable to the skin patches removed from Buffalo Bill's victims. When she realizes Buffalo Bill is a tailor making a woman's suit out of genuine skin, she calls Crawford, who is already on his way to make an arrest after cross-referencing Lecter's notes with Johns Hopkins Hospital and discovering a man named James Gum. Crawford orders Starling to continue questioning Bimmel's acquaintances as he takes a SWAT squad to Gum's business address in Calumet City, Illinois. Starling's interviews take her to the home of Jack Gordon, whom she quickly recognizes as Gum, and she draws her pistol just as Gum disappears into his basement. Starling pursues him down the basement, which has various chambers, and finds a screaming Catherine Martin in the dry well. The basement lights abruptly go out, leaving her in full darkness. Gum stalks Starling in the dark with night vision goggles and prepares to shoot her when she hears the clicks of his revolver's hammer being drawn back and swivels around and shoots Gum dead. Starling receives a phone call from Hannibal Lecter, who is now in the Bahamas, days later at the FBI Academy graduation celebration. As Lecter tells Starling that he has no intention of pursuing her, he excuses himself from the phone call, noting that he's having an old friend for dinner, before hanging up and following Dr. Chilton through the village streets. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe for more videos.